Good morning, Mr. Norris. How are you doing?
You know who this is, don't you?
Yep, I know who you are. You're Christopher Norris, right?
Yes, Christopher Stevens Norris.
All right, so this is cause number.
Yeah.
Hang on just a second. Let me go through some stuff. If you have something to say, I'll give you an opportunity, okay?
Okay.
And you should be able to see on your screen, Mr. Rojas is here, your attorney in court. Mr. Nichols is here representing the state, and this is cause number 0184078. And Mr. Norris was found not guilty by reason of insanity of the offense of murder back in February of 2006, is currently at the Russ State Hospital, and this is our yearly hearing under Article 46C of the Code of Criminal Procedure.
Christopher Norris. At first, this case sounds simple, but the deeper you look, the more complicated it becomes. Back in 2006, Christopher Norris stood trial for murder. The jury returned a verdict, not guilty, but not because they believed he was innocent. They found that at the time of the crime, he lacked the mental capacity to fully understand his actions. Not guilty by reason of insanity. And in Texas, that doesn't mean freedom. It means years inside a state psychiatric hospital under constant review. Every year, doctors evaluate him. Every year, a judge asks the same question: is he still a danger to others? Today, we're watching that question being answered again, nearly 20 years later. Not guilty by reason of insanity. That verdict in 2006 didn't free him. It's been 20 years. Do you think that's the system working or the system failing? Let me know below.
I have a forensic psychiatry report to the court, which was prepared by Dr. Gerke, dated June 10th of 2026. The finding in that is that Mr. Norris, that further inpatient treatment would be recommended, and that it is not recommended that he be released to live independently at this time.
The judge reviews two documents, both written by the same forensic psychiatrist, both reaching the same conclusion. Christopher Norris is not ready for release. The recommendation is clear: continue inpatient treatment. Then there's a note about an incident at the facility since the last hearing. The judge asks if either side has additional evidence. Neither does. So he makes his ruling. Christopher Norris remains mentally ill. Without treatment, he could pose a serious danger to others. Another year of commitment. And just like that, it's over. A decision that will shape an entire year of Christopher's life takes only a few minutes, not because the judge doesn't care, but because that's how these hearings work. And yet, Christopher Norris still has something he wants the court to hear. The entire hearing took minutes. A man's freedom decided that fast. Is that efficient, or is it something else? Keep watching.
And then in addition to that, I have a physician's certificate of medical examination for mental illness from Dr. Gerke. The finding in that is also that Mr. Norris is mentally ill, that without inpatient treatment, likely to cause serious harm to others. And there's several notations here with some issues that have occurred between now and our last hearing a year ago. Is there any other evidence with regard to further treatment inpatient at this time, Mr. Rojas?
No, yeah.
Mr. Nichols? Then I am going to find at this time, based on the reports, that Mr. Norris is mentally ill, that he does not meet the traditional civil criteria for recommitment, but based on his current forensic type commitment, continued inpatient treatment is required because of the acquittal by reason of insanity with regard to the charge of murder, and that the specific finding is that without that, he would be likely to cause serious harm to others, and therefore I am going to order the 1 year commitment.
I have plenty of paper I want to explain to you. You know that I have been locked up for 5 years, 8/13/2021 to 8/13/2026. I've been locked up 5 years. On 8 August 13, 2026, I'll be locked up for 5 years exactly.
So, Mr. Norris, here's the thing. We tried several years back.
No, that was 5 years back.
Yep, and that did not go well. And so all I can do at this time is base my decision on the history and the fact that I did, based on, at that time, it was everyone's recommendation that you be released to a kind of an outpatient, more relaxed situation, and that did not work. And so I ordered you back to Russ.
I got paperwork showing it says, while I was at Russ Hospital, I took my meds, took all my meds, learned everything about meds and symptoms, learned my strengths and weaknesses, focus on mental health, take meds, keep appointments. I mean, I do everything that I'm supposed to be doing this year.
Well,
And then Christopher speaks. He asks the judge a moment to be heard. What follows isn't an excuse. It isn't a denial. Instead, Christopher explains everything he's done to prepare for life outside the hospital. He takes his medication. He understands his diagnosis. He knows his symptoms, his triggers, and the risks he faces. He's lined up housing, transportation, medical care, and support. And then he says something that stands out. I understand that mental illness is a lifelong diagnosis. Think about that. Those aren't the words of someone denying reality. They're the words of someone who understands it, someone who accepts it, someone trying to manage it. By his account, he's done everything the system has asked of him. But before he can fully make his case, the judge gently steps in, and with one sentence, the outcome becomes clear. If the doctors are not recommending release, and just like that, the conversation is over. He showed up with paperwork, documentation, a plan. He understood his own diagnosis better than most people ever would. So what's missing? What does the system need to see that he hasn't shown yet?
Work on my goals. When I was at this hospital, I've been working on my goals. I understand that mental illness diagnosis is lifelong. Recognizing my symptoms when they are active. I mean, I got plenty. So I'm on resources, housing, transportation, food, clothing, support, medical service. I mean, I got all kind of stuff right here saying that I've been doing in the community, stay away from drugs and alcohol, stay in touch with court. I know that I gotta stay in touch with you if I get out because I know that.
So, Mr. Norris, let me interrupt you real quick, Mr. Norris. I can tell you now that if the doctors are not recommending that you be released,
yeah, I really consider. I haven't talked to that doctor for almost 6 months.
Mr. Norris?
I've been asking for another doctor, and what he wrote up was 6 months back because I've been trying to get another doctor.
I've made my ruling at this time. My ruling is that you're going to be continued inpatient at that facility until further order of the court. If something happens and the doctors recommend some other outpatient or...
What if I don't feel safe in this facility anymore? What if I don't feel safe here no more?
Then you need to talk to that facility. I'll talk to Mr. Rojas and we'll look into it. All right? The hearing's over. Thank you.
Yeah, it's wrong. That's all right.
All right. Keep doing what you're supposed to do, and potentially in some time.
I have been doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I have been doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
All right.
That's what I'm trying to tell you right now.
I understand. Continue to do that, okay?
So you just anything anybody ever tells you, or you pull up, and it doesn't even make sense what you said about the doctor overruling. I haven't seen it for 6 months. How can you write all this stuff about me?
We'll look into that, but the report that I have is dated June 10th, and so that's what I have to go by. And so I'm going to again, I've made my decision.
That's what we're seeing every time I come in front of you. I don't feel safe at this hospital.
Okay, we'll check into that. All right, thank you. We'll check into that.
You never check into it because you don't know how.
The judge makes his final decision. Another year of inpatient commitment. Christopher Norris will remain at the hospital. But before the hearing ends, Christopher says something that changes the tone of the room. He tells the judge that he doesn't feel safe there.
Not sometimes, not occasionally. He says that every time he stands before the court, he feels like he's being sent back to a place where he isn't safe. The judge tells him he'll look into it, and Christopher responds with a line that's hard to forget. You can't look into it because you don't know how. Maybe that's frustration. Maybe it's the voice of someone who spent years inside a system that feels impossible to escape. Or maybe it's a warning that the court simply doesn't have the tools to fully understand. We don't know. What we do know is this: the judge thanks him for speaking, encourages him to keep working on himself, and leaves the door open for the future. Then the hearing ends. Christopher Norris returns to the same hospital he's been living in for years. And 12 months from now, the reports will be written again. The hearing will happen again. And the same question will be asked once more.